Hey guys, and welcome to this hobby tips video on how to paint colourful vampire flesh. Well, what does that mean? Well, basically it means we're going to be doing some underpainting and then overpainting using a lot of different colours to influence the flesh tones. So today we're going to go through that on this vampire here, and we're going to be using blues, turquoises, purples, magenta and pale flesh, even some yellows and greens, quite a few colours. And at the end we'll be going through and doing my usual colour glazing with the shade colours from GW. So I'll take you through that process as well. If you'd like to see more on these types of processes and videos, I'll link all those in the description down the bottom, so you can go ahead and look at those at your leisure. And I'll maybe even put the pale vampire skin in the top right hand corner there, so you can go and check that out as well. But yeah, this should be a fun process. We're going to go through and do all that and just see what we can come up with. There's only a very small area of flesh to work with here, which is really great when you're trying this out for the first time. So if you have this model, then that's great. But any model really at all, you can do this type of flesh work on. But today we're doing it on a vampire, so I guess that's cool. So yeah, grab yourself a model and let's get started, eh? Alright, so the underpainting. So to begin with, we're gonna start off with that dark blue, and that's just going to give us an overall base tone. And so you'll just see me putting that down very loosely, just over the flesh, and giving us something to work with to move it away from black. And so once we've done that, we'll move into the purple. And again, it's just a very loose painterly style. You can choose where you want this. I've chosen to do sort of more the undersides of the anatomy, so under the arms, the bottom of the face, etc. And that's just to start to give a difference overall. But you could put some on the top as well. I think I've done a little bit of that, but it's up to you. And then once you've sort of got a bit of a blend of blue and purple, then we're going to use that turquoise. And the turquoise now is going towards the top. So we're going to have a sort of blue-purple undertone and then some turquoise on the top to sort of separate out those tones, so as if light is hitting this skin. And then once we've done that, we're going to go even lighter again. And here we're using the toxic mist, and I'm just adding that now to spots on top of the arms, the hands, around the eyebrows and so on, the nose, anywhere where light's going to hit, just to really further push it away, because we're creating that sort of heat map sort of idea, the blood under the skin and things changing. And so once that's down, that gives us a nice light spot now to add even some light green, so that kraken skin, and just laying in some even lighter tones, leaving some blue, some green. So now we've got a whole range of color there underneath, just influencing what's going to come over the top. And then finally, even then, some yellow. And so you'll see me just go around and dab a little bit of yellow here and there, just to give us our full range of colors. So we've got blues, purples, turquoise, blue, light blues, light greens, and a little bit of yellow, just influencing what's going to go on for the skin tones over the top. And then we're into the main skin color. So to begin with, we set up our gradient, as you'll see me doing there, and it's a mix of that dark blue, magenta, and some gray for that base tone. And then for each of those steps, we're adding a little bit more elfic flesh, that light flesh tone, in to create the various layers and steps along this process. So to begin with, we use that base tone. It's about even mixes of the blue, the magenta, and the gray. But this is no science. We can do anything we want here. You can start it however you want. And so once that's down, we then move into a little bit of elfic flesh mixed into there for our first layer. And this is where we're basically, modeling the surface. So leaving some of the dark cracks and grooves in between the muscles darker, painting the tops of everything across the top of the head, etc., to give us our form. And then for that mid-tone, which has more elfic flesh mixed in, now we're starting to pay attention just the tops of everything. So the tops of the arm, the knuckles, the fingers, the brow, the nose, the top of the cheekbone, the top of the head, just building in some light and leaving the undersides quite dark. So we're not highlighting around the entire anatomy. We're just leaving the bottom sides dark and the top sides light to give us a bit of contrast and a little bit of drama for this vampire. So once that's all down, now we move into those highlight steps. This has even more elfic flesh mixed in, but it's still got that sort of pinkish tone. And what we're doing is we're just line highlighting in across those muscle sinews. This model has a lot of good definition, so it's easy to do, but obviously some models don't. But you're just picking out all of those areas, imagining hard light hitting that top of the model, and so you're creating lots of drama. So you're getting those nice definitions of little line highlights and so on gleaming in that sun. And so in this case, moonlight for the vampire. And then once you've got that down, now we're moving to the very, very final highlights. This has white mixed in now, and so with that you're just going to be picking out the most extreme areas, so across the brow, the nose, the cheekbone, the mouth, a little bit onto the side of the brow and up over the skull, the knuckles, the ends of the fingers, things like that, where you want to get even more extreme light. You might do it across the forearm on some of those muscle where it's really sharp detail across those the sinew, and just really making it more extreme. And then finally even more white mixed in for just little spot highlights on mostly to do around the face, just to really push and sell the drama that's happening there, so that your eye looks directly to the focal point, which is the face. And then once that's all done, now we'll go in for a final color glazing step. So this is about balancing the tones. So you're going to have lots of color going on. We want to basically balance everything out. So we're using the magenta, the purple, the blue, and the yellow mixed with the Lamia medium in a very, very thin glaze. So maybe 2 or 3 drops of Lamia medium with 1 drop of each of those shade colors. And you'll see me just going around, starting with the magenta, moving through the purple, the blue, and the yellow, just dabbing around into the shadow areas around the elbows, the knuckles, around the face, the cheekbone, the jawline, anywhere where you want to see a little bit of redness, blue or purple tones, and then also finally a little bit of yellow. And the yellow is just for like the ends of knuckles, the end of the elbows, anywhere where you want to see a little bit of that bone coming through. And it'll also make the flesh look a bit cadaverous and a little bit sort of rotten as well, which is going to really help give this vampire its look. Okay, and there we go, some nice colorful vampire skin, all done. So you can see that it just adds that extra bit of vibrancy to the skin. It's a fun way to build up color. It gets you into understanding it, gets you into sort of building and blending colors over the top of one another. It's just a good way to learn and lose that sort of, I guess, sense of fear towards understanding and how to paint something as complicated as flesh, which can be really daunting when you're beginning. But by doing these kinds of methods, it's just breaking down some of that and letting you realize that you can pretty much do anything with these colors, and you can always build it into something interesting. With a little tiny bit of knowledge and understanding of the way colors interact with one another, you don't need much knowledge. You can do whatever you want. You can see how we started from blues and going all the way up, and then switching it up and then ending up with almost like a sort of purpley red kind of color at the end. So it can be anything that you want, and with those color glazing steps at the end, you can shift it again. So there's so many steps where you can change up what you're doing. If you're not liking the way it's going, you can shift it. You're not locked into any one process, which is a really fun thing to understand about color once you get into this. You'll realize the freedom that you have. And so I hope this has been enjoyable for you. I hope you've got something out of it. I'll leave a nice image of this guy at the end with the paint list and so on, as I usually do. But otherwise, yeah, hope you've enjoyed this. Please hit that like button, subscribe button. It really helps me out. And I guess I'll catch you on the next one.